So today I'm going to do the same drawing 3 times, which sounds boring, but wait, there's a twist. For this challenge, I'll have a new time limit for each drawing. So that's going to be 10 seconds for the first, 10 minutes for the second, and 1 full hour for my final drawing. So I guess let's just get started. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now feels like a pretty good time to say I'm using this picture as reference. So this is your little hint about what that final drawing is going to look like. Alright, so here we have our 10-minute drawing. I decided to go straight into the sketch for this one. I didn't want to waste any time. We're also going to skip colors. So our plan is to just go from sketch to line art, and that'll be it. If we can finish that up, we're going to call that a completed drawing. Already gotta say, I love her personality, her general style. It's definitely a step up from the 10-second drawing. At this point, I'm kind of getting some ideas about the colors that I might want, but it's too early for that. Not this drawing. It's gonna have to wait. But what we don't need to wait for are the inks. So at this point, I'm about halfway through, which leaves me more than enough time to get that outline done. This feels like a good time to kind of point out some of the quirks that arise when you have a time limit like this. One of the things that I noticed is her head is kind of slimmer and pointier than the sort of shape that I would usually do. And I think that's because I couldn't draw it and then tilt it. I didn't have so much time, so I just wanted to go straight into it. And I don't know, I don't hate it actually. I kind of like it that way. Alright, so now you've seen the teaser and you've seen the trailer. Let's see how I did the final drawing. So right off the bat here, you can see I'm instantly undoing that thin face I kind of liked in favor of drawing the head shape and rotating it how I had previously mentioned. I do think this was the right decision in terms of quality, but part of me will miss that old skinny ass head. Next, after I've plugged in the head and shoulders, I'm on to the hands. I knew going into this final drawing that I really had to get the hands right, because this was going to be my last chance to do it, and I'm pretty happy to say I don't think they came out all that bad. I feel like they read well, some of the fingers have interesting shapes without looking too terribly distorted, and unlike in the last drawing, these hands are actually about the same size, so I'm gonna just call that a win. Afterward, I spent some more time making sure her sweater is sufficiently poofy, because to me, that's what really makes the silhouette something special. In this version of the drawing, I really got a chance to think about how her sweatshirt might fold and crease with her pose, and that proved to be a lot of fun, considering that in the original reference photo, I'm wearing a t-shirt. Now at this point, we've officially passed 10 minutes, and I'm still on the sketch. You can really tell that extra time makes all the difference, as I'm able to plug in more details like her chain and really fiddle around with elements I'm unsure about, like her mouth. You can kind of see here I'm trying to mess with it every which way, but nothing is quite working. Eventually though, I make the decision to move past it and try again after I've filled out some more details. I think that's good advice for anybody doing art, is if you're really unhappy with something you've done, just sit on it. Move on to another part of the piece, and maybe something about what you work on instead of the part you were struggling with will be the thing to help you figure out how to fix the bit you didn't like. And there you go. She's looking sick, so we're beginning to ink. This is always my favorite part because it's the part where things really start coming together. Clean ink lets you really clearly communicate the kind of drawing you've been hinting at the whole time. I think that concept really gets pushed to its logical extreme in this kind of challenge. In my pieces, which had a stricter time limit, I really felt like I was building to this one. Like the previous drawings were increasingly better explanations of what I'm trying to make, and in this one I can finally just show you. Something about that is pretty compelling to me, so I think I'll do one of these challenges again sometime. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see something like this again, and how might you want me to do it differently. Back to the drawing, I'm personally really digging it so far, but I do have a confession to make. After the sketch, I completely forgot to add her face tattoo. I really bummed myself out when I noticed that mistake because it was totally one of my favorite details. Either way though, I think it's coming out really well. The long nails are a part of this drawing that didn't exist in the sketch, but somehow found their way into the inks, and I'm really glad they did. I think they add some much welcome attitude to this character I'm drawing. Still, a face tattoo would definitely add a whole lot more attitude, but I can't keep beating myself up over that one. About halfway through, and we're onto the colors, which I feel really bring this character to life. The purple hair and the dark clothes feel really punk rock, and I think that's a super fun element to push her personality, which is probably my favorite aspect of this drawing overall. I've sort of got a theme of warm colors here, which I contrast with her hair and her bright blue eyes to lead your gaze to her face. It also helps that her skin tone is a much brighter value than her clothes and hair, so her face is sort of framed by the elements around her. Another point of contrast is the gold chain working as an opposite to all the purple and really helping the whole top area to stick out. Next, I add a bit of rim lighting, which adds some extra contrast that I really think is helpful to the general aesthetic of this character. And to be honest, just always looks cool to me. I also changed the outline to red, which I think helps incorporate her with the background and makes the piece feel more cohesive overall. Black outlines are always nice, but there's something extra special about changing up your outline color to fit the mood of your drawing. Now I'm adding some sort of soft two-tone shading with one of my new watercolor brushes that I recently downloaded. I'm still kind of experimenting with them, but I'm excited to figure them out. I also like to play around with the layer types when I'm shading to see if they can do a better job at blending the colors than I can just putting them in a lower opacity. And sometimes they even surprise me by changing the colors in a way which I maybe hadn't imagined before. The next thing I do is add some screen tones to the fabrics of this drawing to create some form of graphic texture. If you've been watching my speed drawings lately, you'll know that I've really had a ton of fun experimenting with them. I also add an additional highlight to the rim light just because I felt the values were becoming a little flat. Next, after a couple touch-ups, I was pretty much done. I fiddled with the background a little with my remaining time, but I wasn't so into any of the changes, so I just kind of put it back the way it was, and now here it is. I'm pretty proud of this drawing. I really like the pose and the attitude, but definitely my favorite part is the colors. I think they came out really well, and it might be fun to play around with a similar color palette in the future. But what do you think? Let me know what you thought about this drawing as well as the video format. I did something a little different this time and I kind of like it. The other style of video isn't going away. I've already got my next guest lined up. But definitely let me know if you want to see something like this again. I mean, I'm going to do it regardless of what you say, but feedback is always nice. Anyway, thanks for sticking through it this far. Goodbye.